Plug this for now. And we're live.
Awesome. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Cellcast Live. We are doing a review over a very unique film, a very mind-blowing film, actually.
And a film not for kids.
No, absolutely not. Paprika. This came out in 2006. Probably most people have never heard of it.
I'm sure some anime nerds know about
it. But probably most animation nerds don't.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, maybe not. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Anyway,
either way. Yeah, it's a good film. It's very trip. If you've ever seen Inception, like you'll get an idea of what's going on. Or Nightmare on Elm Street.
I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street, but that's because I don't watch horror generally.
Over my absence, I watched a new Nightmare. That was an interesting film. And I'll get into that in a little bit later. But yeah,
I bet you do have a lot on that watch.
I do have a lot of movies I watch, a lot of TV, and a lot of episodes.
I may go first then. Let you have the floor at that point.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, so we're gonna review Paprika. So if you haven't watched it, it's available on most. It's on a Voodoo.
Voodoo is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Voodoo. Thank you. Yeah, it's available on Voodoo for $2.99 or Amazon Prime Video for $2.99, and it's worth a watch. Now, granted, please do not watch this with your children.
No, it's definitely not a kids movie.
No, it's not a kids movie. This is the first rated R film we've ever done here on the show.
Is it?
Yeah, it's rated R.
I know it's rated R. Is this the first one we've done that's rated R?
Yeah, the first movie we've ever done is rated R.
I don't doubt you, but I would assume this would have been it.
Your Name?
I assumed Your Name would have been R.
Well, Your Name doesn't contain nudity.
True.
This movie does contain nudity.
I gave you a warning.
He did. It was very tasteful. It was in context, and it wasn't like overly provocative.
Okay, yeah, it's PG-13.
Yeah.
PG, actually. Weathering with You, though, was PG-13.
I
remember Your Name having more provocative scenery than Weathering with You.
Yeah, true.
But anyway.
Either way. So yeah, we will get started with Paprika. So if you want to get your spikes on, go find that movie, check it out. If you don't want to be spoiled, just go check that movie out.
Retro, I'm sure Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is rated R. However, we have not reviewed that.
No, we have not reviewed that movie yet.
We were just trying to figure out if this was the first rated R movie we'd actually reviewed.
Yes, and it actually is. So yeah, so there again, if I'm going to strongly advise, if you decide to watch this movie, do not watch it with someone that are 18. Or there's a lot of stuff that comes up that gonna be you're gonna be talking to your kids are gonna ask you a ton of questions. So I prefer you probably watch it by yourself.
Francisco says he prefers cinnamon.
Okay, well,
to paprika.
Okay, well, I've never had paprika.
Isn't that what's usually that other option there at pizza places there next to the mozzarella, the shredded Parmesan?
That is paprika.
Yeah, I've seen it all my life. I've never used it.
No, Christian, I have used paprika once on a pizza. Okay. That was interesting. So yeah, I have used paprika. Not this paprika. No, we'll get to that in this movie because yeah, this is a very much an adult movie. Let's say that.
Paul, an LCD is a liquid crystal display.
Say what?
He asked, "Mommy, what's LCD?"
Oh my!
I said, "It's a liquid crystal display." Yeah, it's better than Star Trek where they said LDS.
Oh my gosh!
The Church of Latter-day Saints.
Oh my!
Sorry, I hit a wrong button.
Wow. Okay. Technical issues, people. Sorry about that.
I clicked one of these side buttons on the side of my mouse accidentally. My apologies.
You have too many buttons, you mean?
There's a reason I don't touch the mouse during the show.
Okay. Lesson learned. So, yeah.
Hey, Josh. I see you're not here.
What's up?
He says he's not here.
Oh, so you're not here, Josh. Okay.
But hey, we'll take a lurk.
Yeah. So there again, caution, be like, if you I would recommend, if you are a younger person, do not watch this movie by yourself and your parents are in the house. They might walk in like, what are you watching, son?
At the wrong
time. So yeah, don't do that. There again, it
Paul
is
J. Powers, I will read this, and I lost the game a long time ago. So neener boo boo. That doesn't get under my skin like it does Francisco.
Oh man. So yeah, it's always fun when you get an interactive audience. So yeah, guys, we're about to start reviewing.
We'll get started here in a minute.
Yeah. So yeah, you can either go watch Paprika and then come back and give us your thoughts, or if you don't mind being spoiled, come in and watch us dive deep into this film.
Now, Josh, I know that Microsoft's press conference was a little dull, and Square Enix's was a little boring also. But Nintendo did pretty good today. He says he's busy mourning the death of E3 because E3 has been kind of poo-poo this year.
Wah.
I know you don't care because you don't play video games.
No, I don't. I'm interested in what games come out because it's more like, oh, okay, that's
the entire point of E3.
Yes,
find out what games.
I am fully aware of what E3 is.
It's just E3 did not really announce anything
exciting
this year, except Nintendo did fairly well today.
Yeah,
nothing that will blow you out of the water.
I got you.
Not a Final Fantasy VII remake situation.
Yeah,
nothing that made me stand up and go, yes, yes, yes.
No announcement of a new Switch Pro or anything?
No. Switch Pro ain't happening, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It'll happen eventually, but I think they're making too much money on the Switch.
Yeah. I do watch a few gamer reviewers who review tech and that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, it'd be like they're talking about this and be like how this ad set had a big N for new Nintendo. And it's like, people, it's called advertising. It doesn't mean that something new is going to come out.
Well, I mean, there have been new Switch or Switch Pro rumors for the past 6 months.
Oh yeah,
from many different things. And so the fact that, and it's one of those things. It's been all but revealed,
right?
So the fact that and it would not be the first time that a retail outlet leaked information.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. So yeah, it's interesting. I would probably want to figure out what new Nintendo Switch games came out that sound interesting at least.
Remake of Advance Wars looked good, although the models are a little toyish, which is annoying. But I like the Game Boy Advance games, so I'm sure I'll like these remakes. Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel looked good, although we're still at the CG trailer stage. But that's supposed to be coming out next year.
They finally showed a sequel to it.
They announced that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they probably showed a trailer to it.
They showed a trailer then too. But we got another trailer.
Oh, okay.
And we got a release year.
Oh, good.
Better than what we've had.
So what release year is going to that be?
Year.
Next year. Okay.
2022.
Okay.
What else? A couple other little things. Metroid 5.
Really?
Yeah. You have to remember, there's been only four mainland Metroid games.
Yeah.
There was the NES Metroid, Metroid Samus Returns, which was on Game Boy.
Yeah.
Then there was Super Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure which one is technically Metroid 4. I don't think it's Metroid Prime. I think that's a separate series.
Okay.
So it has to be, unfortunately, Other M.
Okay.
Which was bad.
Either way, I mean, like it's always interesting to hear what, because I think game design I like the idea of how character designs and world designs and that kind of stuff has always intrigued me when it comes to like gaming.
Haven't you been threatening to buy a Switch?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. So yeah, eventually I will get around to buying a Switch. Just which one?
They did announce who the new fighter is for Smash Bros, which is one of the guys from Tekken.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I played Tekken. That was fun.
The Heihachi's kid that has the demon form. That's who they announced.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his name.
Hmm.
He was throwing people into a volcano. He tried to throw in Kirby, but Kirby kind of just floated away.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So we're recording, right?
Dude, we always record. I've been recording since before we went live.
Yeah, I know. I'm just double checking.
So are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. Let me switch this all the way back up. Yoink. One day I will get a second screen. All right. Starting in. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who he just woke up. Welcome, Jacob.
After last week, yes, I think I finally woke up. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, the man who believes he's stuck in his most favorite dream in the world, and then he realizes he's sitting on his couch eating potato chips and playing video games. Welcome, Drew.
How do you know that's not my dream?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Anyway, how are you doing, Jacob?
I am doing much better.
So since we couldn't record last week because of your cold, I assume you've not really cold. You just had some sinus. You just had some sinus drainage.
Yeah, I'd have.
Are you feeling? Is that pretty much cured?
Yeah, pretty much.
Am I gonna have to be on the cough button tonight?
You might, maybe, just
okay,
maybe.
Okay.
I had a sinus infection last week. Had to cancel recording. That's why you got a loony virus, which thank the Lord we did the loony viruses.
We've got 2 more of those. We're gonna have to record some more soon.
Yeah, those are gonna be fun eventually. But
I think we might do Tom and Jerry next.
Right on. But yeah, I was fairly sick. I was on vacation, thankfully, because that would have been miserable at work because I'm on my feet the entire day. So they're gonna thank you so much, everyone who reached out when Drew put that post out. And thank you just for your concern, your caring words, your prayers are much appreciated. I'm feeling 10 times better. You can probably hear my voice. I'm still a little bit, maybe just the tiniest bit. I'm great. It's just probably my voice is a little bit. It's not to fighting scale as it should.
Gotcha.
But other than that, thank you guys so much to our fans, to family, to friends who just reached out and to be like, "Hey, are you okay?" And yeah, I am doing much better. If I would have done this, if we were recorded on Tuesday, I would have sounded like this the entire time. And it wouldn't have been a good recording. So I wanted to do the show justice and give the show the best of my ability. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I decided not to do it. So yeah, I'm doing much better. And went back to work and getting back into the swing of things. And instead of watching TV all day and drawing and all this good stuff, yeah, it was an interesting vacation. Let's say that.
All right.
How about you?
It's been work.
It's been work. Okay.
It's been, well, I mean, it was a bit of a week.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, all with the exception of one night, all my normal evening activities were pretty much canceled last week for one reason or another.
Okay.
So I played a lot of video games and I watched some movies last week and I went to work. So it was kind of a very dull week to some degree.
Okay.
Though I did go into Lindell to visit my folks this weekend.
Okay, good.
So since I know you have watched a ton,
yes,
I'm going to go first so I can let you have the floor.
Okay, go for it.
So, as many of y'all know, over on Retro Rewind's Discord, I'm running the Backlog Golf.
Uh-huh.
So it's very. I feel like I should be putting in a lot of work on that since I'm running it.
Right.
At least trying to stay up. But so I watched quite a number of things this week.
Really?
Yeah. And I should have had this up. I can cheat and use my actual log sheet. So yeah. Since the last time we recorded, along with Paprika, I have watched My Neighbors the Amadas, which is a Studio Ghibli film that we're actually going to be reviewing later this year.
Okay.
I also watched Invasion of the Astro Monster.
Yeah.
Because, see, I'm sure y'all noticed it up here, the Godzilla collection behind Jacob's head.
It's a very large head.
And it's a very large collection. I've been working my way through that. And so when Backlog Golf started, I was to Invasion of the Astro Monster. And then I went and watched Abira, Horror of the Deep.
Okay.
Abira is actually kind of a mix between a lobster and a shrimp.
Okay.
It was an interesting movie. And then today I watched Son of Godzilla. That is the goofiest movie I have ever seen. You just don't expect happy-go-lucky music in a movie about Godzilla. But it was still a fun little movie. Also, I played a couple... I also watched Labyrinth for the first time.
Good movie.
Or first time all the way through, I should say, because I had watched like a part of it before, but I just never got around to finishing it.
Yeah.
And then I beat a couple of video games. Super Mario 3D World, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, Saban's Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. That's a fighting game.
Yeah.
And it's a weird fighting game.
Okay.
I know it's based on the Boom Studios comics, which are good.
Yeah.
Which I have never gotten around to finishing reading. But the way the game plays, it's kind of weird.
Okay.
Because mid-battle, you'll switch and be playing the villain.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was weird. But I did beat it, so yeah. And then on the Sunday night, you just stayed home because of the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Our good buddy Chase me and him watched 2010, The Year We Made Contact, the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
That is another weird movie, but it made more sense than 2001.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching.
All right.
And playing.
Interesting.
So now you get to go over all the little things you've been watching.
Okay. All right. So last week I was on vacation and I was sick. I had a sinus infection, like I said before. So I did have plans that I was going to go to Dallas for a night and just go and just do something I've never done before. Nothing illegal. Just go and hang out and probably go to a toy store and look for toys. Because that's something I like to do. It's fun. Other than that, what I watched was I finished up Batman the Animated Series with season 4. That is a very interesting season because they start throwing in different characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started it on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I got all the way to season 5, disc 1. And so I am very interested what goes on the very end of season 5. And I know there's a 6th season and there's a 7th season.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to be interesting.
You're at the beginning of season 5?
Yeah, very beginning of season 5.
I'm at the end of season 4. We are almost even.
Okay.
You passed me, but not by much.
Okay. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, I was looking for a movie I'm doing a review over for another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it. It was on VHS. So that was no dice. So I'm looking around this one booth at not Guardian. This was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When I found this. I found Halloween 2 and Goosebumps. Not Goosebumps, but Beetlejuice. So I'd seen Beetlejuice before when I was a really young kid, and we reviewed Halloween, the original John Carpenter film, on Movie of the Week podcast. So I would always been interested in what happened after the first one. And the second one is a direct sequel. It picks it up just automatically. And to be honest, it's kind of a dud. I mean, like it's very predictable. You know when Michael Myers is going to show up. It's not. There's not as much suspense. It's not gonna. There's not the ratcheting in which I like to describe the first one. It's very formulaic. There's some interesting ideas what they do, but there again, it's an older movie. So 3, 2, 1. Michael Myers has a sister. Is in
Michelle Myers?
No.
Ashley Myers?
You're really throwing me off.
Judy Myers?
Judy in disguise.
Wendy Myers. I'm just listening.
Our main heroine from the first one. Jamie Lee Curtis's character.
I don't remember her name.
I am drawing a blank too. I am terrible. And plus her wig in that movie is absolutely abysmal. But it's okay. It's not a great film. It's okay. It's kind of a kind of a film. I watched that. Wasn't really impressed with it. So moving on. Speaking of horror, I had watched a little bit of this when I was younger. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This was a very interesting take on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, because at that point Freddy was quite literally dead. They killed Freddy Krueger in the 5th film, and so New Line Cinema was more okay. What are we gonna do? And Wes Craven was, because he had gotten out of the game several years before. And they had approached him about, what would you think about doing a new Freddy movie? It was like, I don't know. Well, it's like, well, what would you do with it? And so he came up with this, that it's dealing with the actual actors, the actual actors who played the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like the woman who played Nancy, she plays a fictional version of herself. You see Wes Craven as a fictional version of himself. You see like a bunch of people from the original films playing themselves, a fictional version of themselves. And there's a whole lot of very unique things they do in that film. That Freddy is a there again, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert. Freddy isn't just a character. He's the demonic being that has somehow found himself from the movie into the real world. And so now the the actress who played Nancy has to defeat him again, but in real life this time.
Mm.
So it's an interesting movie. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. I actually watched it twice. So that was great. I finally found it. This is the movie I've been looking for several, like a month or so. So I'll be doing a excuse me. I'll be doing a review of this movie, True Lies, James Cameron, for what was that? What is that? Either way, I will.
Video Store Rejects.
Yeah, Video Store Reject podcasts. They're going through. Good night. They're going through famous directors, and they're currently going through James Cameron. And I had mentioned him wanting to do True Lies or something like Terminator 2. And one of the hosts got a hold of me. It's like, hey, what do you think about doing True Lies? And sure, not a problem.
You couldn't find the movie.
I couldn't find it because there again, this movie is only on DVD. It has never been transferred to Blu-ray. Never been given the royal
not outside of Hong Kong.
Outside of Hong Kong, of course. But James Cameron apparently has no time for this film whatsoever because he's on this Avatar trip. But yeah, so I finally watched it again after all these years, and it's still a very funny, goofy movie. Other than that, I watched that. And then I started watching Outlaw Star, which is an anime series.
Yeah.
From I want to say it's like the late 90s.
Outlaw Star? Yeah.
Yeah, it was from the late 90s. It was on Toonami. And I remember watching it.
I saw in the early 2000s originally. So yeah, it would have to be late 90s.
Yeah, it was a good series. I've watched it completely, and so I decided to watch it again because they're going home, and I'm sick, and I don't watch like Lonesome Dove when I'm sick. I'm not that kind of person. I gotta watch something else. So I watched a little bit of that. I started rewatching NCIS. That's a show. This show started in 2002, 2003,
something like that,
and it's still going. So it's very long running, and I've started watching season 1. And season 1 is amazing. It's so much fun. The ending, oh my gosh, I love definitely the very end of that series is so good. Like one of our character dies, and that character never comes back. Which I loved it, and that just kind of leads into season 2. Just like love it. And there's so many good points about NCIS. I love NCIS for the simple fact that it's a crime show. They deal with murder, they deal with homicide, and it's all based in the Navy and Marines. And there's some really, really good character development in those shows. Oh my gosh! But yeah. And then the last thing I watched, kind of. I was thinking about something I had watched when I was a kid, and I had not watched in forever. So I popped in McClintock.
That's a good one.
From John Wayne, not Chow Wayne, John Wayne. But which I love this movie to death. Now, granted, some people are like, "Oh my gosh, they did that back in the '60s." It's like, yes, they did that back in the '60s. It's a comedy. Get over it. I understand this movie probably wouldn't be exactly politically correct, but it's still a funny film. But I enjoyed it. I love this film to death, and it's great when you have all these amazing actors and just a funny script and all these great. It's just a great movie. If you've never watched McClintock or a John Wayne movie in general, go watch it. They're great films. So yeah, that is what I've been watching for the last.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Anyway.
Yeah, either way. So that is all I have been watching.
All right. Well, we don't do news anymore.
No, we don't.
Which I keep forgetting. Which means we need to go into our spoiler-free thoughts on Paprika. So I think it's this nice little spice. No, I'm kidding.
Ugh.
I've never actually used the spice paprika, so I have no idea what it tastes like.
Well, yeah, it's a dash of insanity.
I know it was on the table next to the shredded Parmesan at all the pizza restaurants I've been in my whole life.
Right.
The spices, anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're actually talking about the movie Paprika.
Yes.
A trip of a movie. Let's just say that.
Yeah, kind of an inception, if you will.
It may have inspired that movie.
Just maybe a little bit.
Especially that hallway scene. You can tell that.
Oh, yeah.
Nolan may have just ripped that one straight out.
Maybe. There again, another movie. Go watch that.
Yeah, I saw this movie originally probably at about 07, 08, I believe.
Okay.
This was when I was really starting to get into I must watch every anime that comes available to purchase at my local Walmart back when that was still a novelty. And this was one of the ones that came in. And then I don't know what happened to my original copy.
Oh, fun.
So I had to buy that again.
Oh, no.
Which means I'll probably find it later, but I'm sure it was on DVD at the time. So,
okay.
I remember watching it, and I remember thinking, what on earth did I just watch? Not the first time. This will not be the last time I'll say that about an anime this year. Because I know one of the ones we're doing later, I said the same thing after I first watched it. But I did enjoy the movie the first time I saw it, even though it was a little weird.
Okay.
And then somehow it just disappeared from my mind for about 10 years. And then we started talking about the podcast, and I got to thinking about what would be a good anime that would show off how good animation is. And this was one of the first ones that came to mind was Paprika, because I remember it being weird, trippy, and yet still good.
Yeah.
What I did not remember, as a fair warning to any parents in the room, that there are about 3 times that we see breasts.
Yeah, nudity
on screen. It's like, I did not know that was there. I forgot that was there. I must have.
It was an interesting shock.
Yes. And it was to the point where it's like, when I saw it, I said, I got to tell Jacob. I got to warn him.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, those moments, they're not the creepiest ones.
No, they're not. Oh my gosh, we'll get there when we get there. Yeah,
believe me, we'll get to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's an interesting movie, and I can definitely see how it inspired Inception.
Yeah,
and it's the last movie that Satoshi Kon directed, so I'll just throw that out there.
Okay,
what are your thoughts?
As I blink rapidly, wow, this was
going through REM sleep.
Yeah, maybe at a point where I'm like, can I go to sleep now? Because this movie is like, whoa, what a trip. This was a straight out nutty film. Oh my gosh. I watched the first time for the review, never even heard of this film. I maybe seen like the cover somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I heard someone mention Paprika, and there again, I think like Drew said, the paprika you find in a Pizza Hut or a pizza restaurant. Excuse me. But
hang on. Okay, go ahead.
But I enjoyed it. I had to watch this a second time to get everything in this film. Because it's so dense. It's such a dense film. And there's so much coming at you like left and right. This movie does not slow down whatsoever. Would I recommend it to is it family friendly? No, absolutely not.
No way.
In this podcast, I would strongly recommend if your kids listen to this podcast or watch the podcast with you via stream.
I should have started off the podcast with a warning.
Yes.
And I will put this in before the show goes out on the RSS feeds.
Yeah.
I will put in, it's like, if you got kids, you may not want to listen to this episode if they're in the room.
Yeah, so just a fair warning, because there is going to be a lot of more adult talk about this movie, and a lot of like really deep psychological stuff that deals with more adult things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that you have been warned. Other than that, it's animation wise, oh my gosh, the amount of detail in every single scene is just like jaw dropping. And just the idea that, are you asleep? Are you awake? You don't know. And it's just it's a mind trip. It is, you are going into a minefield. You don't know how to step, where to step, and you don't know if you're gonna get blown up in the next second or not. Or get thrown into a dream, which you don't know if it's your dream or not. Other than that, it's a good film. It's a very good film. It's worth watching as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
If you are under the age of 13 or 18, I would highly recommend having parental supervision or guardianship
or
supervision.
Just
skip it and wait until you're adult to watch it. Because there's gonna be a lot of things in here that need unpacking.
Definitely not kid friendly. No,
it's not.
This is a lot more risque than Your Name was, which
I think
previously was the most risque thing we'd done.
Yeah, it's very much an adult film. It is rated R.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are under 18 and you have parents that are very strict about what you watch, please do not rent this film without your parents' supervision, or stream it. Let's say that. Because I'm thinking,
don't watch it unless your parents will let you.
Exactly.
Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, because for some weird reason, I went to be like, yeah, go to your local video store and don't go rent this. I'm like, wait, they don't have video store rentals anymore.
And I don't think you're gonna. If you find one, I doubt Paprika will be there.
Well, if you do, send us a picture of it. That'd be
amazing. Anyways, are you ready to hit the bumpers?
Yeah,
we'll
jump into this. Let's hit those bumpers.
All right. We'll see y'all on the other side. We need to break for anything outside of that? You ready to jump in?
Yes.
Okay. Coming back in. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Paprika. Listener discretion is advised. Paprika was written and directed by Satoshi Kon, who also directed Tokyo Godfathers, another film we need to put on the list at some point. It was also written by Seshi Minakami, who also wrote some episodes of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it's based on the novel by Yasutaka Tsusui. Anyway,
we do our best here, people.
I'm sorry. This is one of the harder Japanese names I've run across. For the English dub, the cast goes Cindy Robinson was both the voice of Paprika and Dr. Atsuko Chiba.
Mm-hmm.
And since 2010, she has been the voice of Amy Rose in the Sonic the Hedgehog series.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You mean the pink one, right?
Yes, the pink one.
Okay.
Yuri Lowenthal was the voice of Kosaku Takeda.
Okay.
And in Final Fantasy VII Remake, he played Johnny.
Okay.
Do you remember Johnny
from Final Fantasy
VII Remake? The one that kept getting in trouble and we kept having to save his butt?
I think so.
He was always those it always started off the side quest portions of it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we had to go save him from those Shinra thugs?
Oh,
after
yeah.
He stupidly was going to go report us.
Oh, my. Yeah, I remember that goofy kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why are you doing this, kid?
David Lodge was the voice of Toritaro Shima. And in the video game Persona 5, he's the voice of Igor.
Huh.
And that's the only way I'm going to say that for the people, those of you who've played Persona 5. You'll have to figure it out otherwise. Paul St. Peter was the voice of Toshimi Konakawa. That's the detective in the movie. And he was the voice, he played the voices of Caramon, Infamon, Diaboromon, and Kokomon in Digimon, the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Brian Beacock was the voice of Hajime Himuro and Kuga. And in the video game series Danganronpa, he plays the character of Monokuma, which is that black and white bear.
Okay.
If you've ever seen
Oh, yeah, that creepy bear.
Yeah, he's the voice of that.
Okay. He plays the voice of the creepy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Michael Forrest is the voice of Dr. Seijiro Inouye. And in Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, he played Prince Olympius.
Okay.
I don't know who this character is because I didn't watch that season, but anytime you see a Power Rangers reference, I feel you have to put it in there.
Okay.
I don't know why. Doug Erholtz was the voice of Dr. Morio Osanai. And he is currently the voice of Inspector Zenigata in the Lupin the Third movies that have come out recently.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's another film we need to put in there, Lupin the Third.
We've got some Lupin the Third.
No,
we did a Lupin the Third.
Yeah, but the new Lupin the
Yeah,
Third.
we need to put some more Lupin the Third.
Yeah,
Not just
agreed.
the new one, but yeah.
Agreed.
And our Kingdom Hearts connections, we come back to Doug Erholtz because from Kingdom Hearts 2 onward, he is the voice of Squall, Leon Hart, a.k.a. Leon.
Okay.
Also, Paul St. Peter, who was the detective in this one.
Yeah.
Throughout all of Kingdom Hearts, he plays a character that you have not met yet.
Okay.
In our playthrough, named Xemnas.
Xemnas. Okay.
Except if I've done my research correctly, we actually may meet him in the first game.
Okay. Interesting.
Indeed.
No, you have me intrigued.
That brings me to the end of the Kingdom Hearts connections, which means info and stuff. Please, sir.
All right. So info and stuff. You can watch this basically anywhere you can purchase streaming rights. You can watch it on Vudu on Vudu for $2.99. You also watch it on Amazon Prime Video for the exact same price. It's like $2.99 between $3.99. It's worth a watch, people. Go watch it. Unless you're a kid, don't watch it until you're an adult. It has an IMDb, thank you, 7.6 out of 10. Production was Madhouse, and how much I love Madhouse animation is not even questionable here. For example, go watch, and I'm drawing a blank in a movie we just watched with a friend.
You're not thinking of
No, I'm thinking of wrong one. I'm thinking Studio Trigger.
Yeah, that's Studio Trigger.
That's Studio Trigger. Either way, they're both really good studios.
Yeah.
I nearly stuck my foot in my mouth. Thank you very much for pulling the foot out of said mouth. Thank you. All right, so distributing wise, it was distributed by Sony Pictures Entertainment here in America and in Japan.
Specifically Sony Pictures Classics.
Yeah, classics. Very true.
As that is their arm for their pretentious movies.
All right. So
films.
This is interesting. Its release was September 2nd, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess where?
Japan.
Wrong.
Cannes Film Festival. Sundance.
Venice.
Venice.
Of all places, it was premiered in Venice, which is really cool.
I think that's the one country that wasn't referenced at any point during this movie.
That is true. All right, so it was officially released in Japan on November 25th, 2006. It actually made a premiere between February 26th and March 3rd, 2007 at the National Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. Now, a very big thanks to Drew because he did the conversion for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The budget for this film was 300 million yen, and the conversion for the year 2006 was $2.8 million US.
Well, that's accounting for inflation and the transfer rate at the time, and
yeah,
it's worth that in today's dollars.
Yeah. All right, so it had a box office US wise was $35,000, and that was March or May 2007. Sorry, blah. Its US gross was $882,000, and its US gross, its worldwide gross was $944,000. So yeah, I think it didn't really make its budget,
No, it didn't.
but it's still a really trippy, very experimental, and it influenced a lot apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all I can find. Be like, I can't find anything on home release about this film unless I just really deep, really plunge into the matrix of trying to find find this information, but I couldn't find it.
Right.
So yeah, that's all I got for info stuff.
All right, jumping into the summary. Okay. In the near future, a newly created device called the DC Mini allows the user to view people's dreams. The head of the team working on this treatment, Dr. Atsuko Chiba, begins using the machine illegally to help psychiatric patients outside the research facility by assuming her dream world alter ego, Paprika. Chiba's closest allies are Dr. Torataro Shima, the chief of the department, and Dr. Kosaku Tokita, inventor of the DC Mini. Paprika counsels Detective Toshimi Konakawa, who is plagued by a recurring dream. She gives Konakawa a card with the name of a website on it. Because they are unfinished prototypes, the DC Minis lack access restrictions, allowing anyone to enter another person's dreams, which poses grave consequences when they are stolen. Shima goes on a nonsensical tirade and jumps through a window, nearly killing himself. Upon examining Shima's dream, which is a parade of random objects, Tokita recognizes his assistant's Kei Himuro, which confirms their suspicion that the theft was an inside job. When two other scientists fall victim to the DC Mini, the company's chairman, Dr. Seijiro Inouye, who was against the project to begin with, bans the use of the device. This fails to hinder the crazed parade now inside Himuru's dreams, which claims Tokita. Let me say that again. This fails to hinder the crazed parade now inside Himuru's dream, which claims Tokita. Paprika and Shima discover that Himuro is only an empty shell. The real culprit is Inui, who believes that he must protect dreams from humankind's influence through dream therapy with the help of Dr. Morio Osanai. Paprika is captured by the pair after an exhausting chase. Osanai admits his love for Chiba and peels away Paprika's skin to reveal Chiba underneath. However, he is interrupted by the outraged Inui, who demands that they finish off Chiba as the two share Osanai's body. They battle for control. Konakawa enters the dream and flees with Chiba back into his own recurring dream. Osanai gives chase, which ends in Konakawa shooting Osanai to take control of the dream. The act kills Osanai's physical body in the real world. Dreams and reality begin to merge. The dream parade runs amok in the city, and reality starts to unravel. Shima is nearly killed by a giant Japanese doll, but is saved by Paprika, who has become separate from Chiba. Amidst the chaos, Tokita, in the form of a giant robot, eats Chiba and prepares to do the same to Paprika. A ghostly apparition of Chiba appears and reveals that she has been in love with Tokita and has been repressing these emotions. She comes to terms with her repressed desires, reconciling herself with the part of her that is Paprika. Inui returns in the form of a giant humanoid nightmare, reveals his twisted dreams of omnipotence, and threatens to darken the world with his delusions. Paprika throws herself into Tokita's body. A baby emerges from the robotic shell and consumes Inui, aging into a fully grown combination of Chiba and Paprika as she does so, then fades away, ending the nightmare. In the final scene, Chiba sits at Tokita's bedside as he wakes up. Later, Konakawa visits the website from Paprika's card and receives a message from Paprika. Atsuko will change her name to Tokita, and I suggest watching the movie Dreaming Kids. Konakawa enters a movie theater and purchases a ticket for Dreaming Kids. Getting into the trivia for this episode, when Paprika interviews Konakawa and his filmmaker guys, his mannerisms and appearance resemble that of director Akira Kurosawa.
It does.
Mhm.
I just thought about that. Yeah.
The tall and short bartenders on Paprika's website in the Japanese version are dubbed by the director Satoshi Kon and the original author of the Paprika novel Yasutaka Tsutsui, respectively.
Really? Interesting.
The movie Inception in 2010 is actually inspired by Paprika.
No, you think?
No, I couldn't imagine that at all. At the end of the film, when Kogawa Toshimi finally goes to the movies, the camera slowly scrolls over some of the movie posters. The most visible ones are from Satoshi Kon's previous 3 movies, Perfect Blue in 1997, Millennium Actress in 2001, and Tokyo Godfathers in 2003. The movie Dreaming Kids that she suggests he go see was supposed to be a reference to the next movie that Satoshi Kon was working on.
Okay.
He did not finish it prior to his death, though. The movie was never released.
Oh, okay.
When Paprika enters Takeda's dream, she surfs the sky on a cloud dressed as a warrior.
I wonder where that's from.
I was just about to ask if you knew what that was from.
Yeah, the Monkey King.
Yeah. This could be an Easter. I like how where I got this from. Says this could be an Easter egg.
Could be
referring to Son Goku and his flying Nimbus cloud. But the additional details of Paprika's crown and staff call to mind the Chinese mythical figure known as Sun Wukong, or the Monkey King, aka the same thing Dragon Ball Z was based on originally. So
The Journey to the West.
Oh, and that movie that he was working on that was supposed to be that they called Dreaming Kids. That was actually going to be called Dreaming Machine.
Dreaming Machine. Okay. Well, that's sad to hear.
Yeah. He left it incomplete. Then he passed away and it was never finished. And that brings me to the end of the trivia.
Wow.
So I think we're both on the same page here when I think both of us like the animation.
Yeah, the animation in this
Just go ahead and jump on that first one.
Well, my first it's the animation, but it's actually the backgrounds.
Oh.
It's the like good night. I've never seen much detail. You go into let me bring him up. Takeda? Yeah, Takeda, our very large character. His office is a mess.
Oh yes,
but the detail of the mess is so impeccably good. You have so much that you see, like every wire, every book, every toy that's at a place. You go to Himuro's very disturbing apartment. Oh my gosh, the amount of baby doll heads in that, and the fact that he turns into a baby doll
is disturbing.
Yeah, it's belief. Like you go psychologically, that's even worse. But just like overall, the backgrounds. I mean, like you look at when you're in the dream stage of the parade.
Yes,
like all the detail, like from the doll, the dolls just lying there. They look like dolls. They're not simply some very generic renderization. They look like a doll. Or like when Himuro like the figure of Himuro transforms into his avatar character in the dream, or just like all the backgrounds. You go into the cityscapes when it's like fully detailed out. It's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like the movie, there was going to be a live action film, but it never came to fruition. That would have been like I'm not talking about
Inception.
not Inception, but an actual live action version of this was going to be in production, but it stopped production and never continued. So yeah, there was going to be a Paprika live action movie at one point, but apparently it was too monumental of a task at that time to do. But just like every single little detail in this movie is just incredible. Like your character designs are really well done. Just the backgrounds are incredible. That like there's some scenes is more like the scenes in The Office where they're just clutter everywhere. It's like how much time you have to do in rendering and design and everything. So yeah, that's my number one is backgrounds. 1 second. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mine also is the animation.
Yeah.
I love how fluid a lot of this animation is,
Yeah.
especially when you go from such stark differences. One of the things that jumps in my mind is when she's first in his dream there.
Yeah.
And she starts off, of course, in that Monkey King garb.
Oh yeah, which I was just like, oh my gosh,
like,
they went there.
Okay, that was an interesting reference.
Uh-huh.
And then slowly, as she lands there on the ground and is searching for, I don't remember exactly what she's looking for, but she walks past this painting, and the camera quits following her because then she comes out of the painting as a fairy and flies through.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Okay, that's interesting to watch. And then some of the other stuff, like thereafter, well, there is the scene where she gets caught.
Yeah,
and he's ripping open the Paprika persona.
Oh my, yeah,
that's as disturbing as that is.
Yeah.
It's still animated very well.
Yes,
I like the fact that sometimes that for half the movie, you don't really know when you're in the dream world and when you're in the real world.
Agreed.
But I think the thing that gets me the most is the detective's dreams.
Oh yeah.
Of course, it starts off in that circus,
mm-hmm.
and then because as he's running security or something,
yeah,
and then he gets thrown onto the stage, and people start to attack him with his face.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, he's Tarzan.
Yeah,
and then he's getting attacked on a train.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're at a rodeo and he's beating the bad guy with a metal chair.
Yes.
And then you get to the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the hallway is probably the most direct reference to that Inception pulls.
Yes.
Because it's not exactly, but the fact that you've got that hallway and so much of that is similar. But as the body is falling of the person he's trying to, I assume he's trying, the body is the victim of the case he's trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
But as he runs after the perpetrator, the floor kind of turns into cloth.
Yeah.
And he can't get there, and that's usually and that's usually about where the dream ends.
Yeah.
But then later on, it goes on where he suddenly has switched places with the perpetrator,
mm-hmm.
and escapes into the movie theater, which is like, that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
All that animation from beginning is so fluid. It's like it makes sense why it's doing that.
Yeah.
And the animation is just so gorgeous going all the way through it. I'll get to the parade here in a minute because I'm leaving that part separate. But the animation in general is just so pretty, and it's so dreamlike. Is the best way. It expresses the fact that it's a world of dreams so well. But yeah, that's my first one. What's your second like?
So speaking of the inception of dreams,
mm-hmm.
the idea that you have no idea if you are awake or asleep.
Yeah.
And there again, good parallel of Christopher Nolan's Inception. If you've never seen it, I mean, it took me years to see it. It's an incredible film. Go watch it. This is not a push or an ad for one of our podcasts. It's just go watch the film. It's good. Just the idea of where you are able to jump into someone else's dream and as our very large kid of a scientist says very best, like you can experience your friend's dream and experience their joys and happiness and lows and highs and through their dreams. And it makes you ever wonder if we all have very bizarre and very like what in the world just happened kind of dreams. And like if you can you like it this popped in my head the other night when I was watching this movie. It's like, so when it comes to dreams and more Christianity and in the embodiment of Christ, when it comes to dreams, if you say you murder someone or you use something very disturbing, let's say that to another person in a dream, be like, is that a sin? And I always wondered that for years. That was like, because be like, you have some very bizarre dreams and you like massacre an entire room. It's like, why did I do that? And I had an interesting conversation with our pastor one day, and just kind of asked him the exact same question. And it would be funny. It's like, no, like it'd be like your dreams are your dreams. It'd be like dreams are more what your subconscious is kind of just building. Like definitely go into like deep REM sleep. It's like, yeah, they become more bizarre and more weird. So yeah, there's really no connection between there are some connections with reality. Like maybe you see someone in your dreams. There's no, because there's a lot of the psychological of dreams, that dreams have a connection with real life. If you see someone in your dreams that you're going to meet them the next day, or if you dream you're a millionaire, you're going to be a millionaire someday. No, they're dreams. That's what dreams are. Dreams are simply your imagination going wild while you're asleep and making all kinds of crazy ideas. All it is your mind is mentally processing everything throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout your years, and just making ideas up. It's like the ultimate it's your imagination in overdrive, and you can't control it. So yeah, the idea of dreams and the idea of going into someone else's dream to either help them or manipulate them. I always thought that idea was very interesting. Or sometimes it's like the eyes of the window of the soul, or some people have said that the dreams are the window to the soul. And so I disagree with the idea, because there again, it's only your imagination. So yeah, there's some parallels that you can be like, oh, because you thought of this person because you saw them the other day, or you thought about them, so they pop up in your dream. So just go into like, dream psychology a little bit. It's interesting. And definitely, I think my third like there's one point I want to jump into. Definitely comes to like what the characters are actually dreaming. It's like, okay, that's interesting. But either way, so mine is the inception of dreams.
Okay. My number 2 is the use of literature imagery.
Okay.
It could, on one hand, most of the time when you see people have a dream sequence in a show, and I don't just mean cartoons, I mean anytime, it is this dull, generic, their life plus maybe a little bit of weirdness, right?
Right.
The fact that it actually uses pop culture, and specifically it's using pop culture that is public domain, if we're being honest.
Right.
And I think there are some allusions to some other things, but, and a lot of this comes from classic literature. So like I mentioned earlier, the shot of him as Tarzan, you even get the Tarzan yell. I thought was funny, or not funny, but appropriate.
Yeah.
Her dressed up as Sun Wukong.
Yes.
There in that scene, and of course her as the fairy, making me think of Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the fairy's name in the regular book, or if that's just
Tinkerbell.
the Disney version.
It's Tinkerbell.
Okay, I couldn't remember because I've never read the actual book.
It's an interesting issue why she's called Tinkerbell.
We'll get to that later when we get to that movie.
Exactly.
But I mean, the use of this popular imagery. When I think of my dreams, sometimes they do include normal regular people.
Yeah.
And regular situations. But sometimes weird stuff happens that's in my subconscious because, of all the pop culture that I've consumed just naturally. And I think this affects everybody. So especially for the detective's dreams, how he's used to study movies because he thought he was going to be a movie maker.
Yeah.
He wanted to be one. Because so much of what his dream is him coming to peace with the fact that, he left it unfinished, but he's actually living out the movies he was wanting to make. But I mean, the fact that he has all that's naturally comes to his mind, as he's, dreaming. So you get that shot of course we got Tarzan there. The shot of him in the train fighting, that I either is for me, that's either for me, James Bond fighting somebody in a train while his Bond girl is back there. In this case, the Bond girl is Paprika.
Yeah.
But it could also be like someone getting murdered on a train, like in a Hercule Poirot story.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm picturing it. And then, of course, you get the rodeo where they're just fighting for this. It's like, I can see that in a movie very easily.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like the use of that imagery because it's not boring.
Yeah.
It's the best way I know how to put that. It's creative. It's actually being creative with your dreams.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't even think Paprika did a whole lot. That's not something Inception did a whole lot of.
Yeah.
It's not as much as it should have, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Okay.
What's your third like?
My third like. Now, this is going to be a weird one, so just bear with me.
I'll try.
It's going to be a weird one. The depravity of man.
Oh, no, I can follow that.
Yeah, so you look at all these characters.
But this movie, I can definitely see where you got the depravity of man.
Yeah, it'd be like Good Night. You look at the fact that you look at let me go back to his what's his face?
Osanai?
Yeah, Osanai.
Osanai's the big one.
Osanai. Oh my gosh.
That man needs serious help.
Yeah, or he's not dead already by the end of the movie.
True.
Yeah. Because he did take a very heavy, horrendous traumatic fall.
To say he fell from grace, well, it's not exactly true. He wasn't very graceful.
No, he wasn't.
But anyway.
But either way, be like, you look at the fact, be like, you first, like, you get into his apartment and like all you see is baby doll heads. I'm like, oh my god.
You mean that guy? I was thinking the guy that was in love with Paprika.
Oh no. I'll get to him in a minute.
You mean Himura?
Yeah, Himura.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Himura. Oh, I'll get to him in a minute. I'll get to most of these characters in a minute.
Himura is the one with the baby dolls.
Yeah, Himura. Yeah, Himura.
Or China dolls, really.
Yeah, China dolls. But it's like that, like surface level. It's disturbing, like beyond belief. And then you look through because the characters go through his magazine. You see a bunch of stuff like, oh my gosh, like okay, that's extremely disturbing. I'm not going to say what it was in the. Be like, just go watch the film. You get disturbed as I was. And then you just go through the line of characters. You go through Takeda. You like Takeda is just like one, he's an extreme glutton. He doesn't know how to control his weight. I'm not picking on people who are I'm not picking on people in that regard. I'm just
okay. I won't take it personally then.
Okay. But it's just like then you get the fact that Takeda is very much a man child. He's a man child that doesn't really care about. He even says to himself, be like, he doesn't really care about adult things. Be like he doesn't. He's going to disregard his adult responsibilities, do what he wants. And that kind of is like a really big thing when it comes to the idea of responsibility and growing up is, you have responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there are a lot of people that I've met who are like that. And it's very disturbing. It's like, okay, so you're not going to take responsibility for anything you do. It's like, okay. And then you get into your villains. Oh my gosh. Like you get it. Like every one of these characters has some twisted Sorry for the coughing, people. Like every one of these characters kind of shows you the depravity of man. If anybody doesn't know what depravity of man is the fact that man's kind of sick in the head. Let's say that man is very depraved. And now, granted, I don't believe in the total depravity of man. I believe in the depravity of man, but that's a whole other theological thing.
That's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah, whole other kettle of fish. But the depravity of man is that you get into our villains and the fact that our main villain literally uses another man to gain a physical body who he's paralyzed, mind you, in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the guy who is in love with Paprika. Thank you very much.
That's the name of the movie.
Yeah, is in love with her, but he has sold his body, if you're catching my drift, to this other dude in order to gain power, in order to use the what is our
DC Mini
to have ultimate power with the DC Mini, to be able to control dreams. People willing to sell themselves, give up their own physical being in order for power and desire and control. And it's just like disturbing beyond belief. The second time I'm watching this, because there again, this is the kind of film you need to watch like twice to get everything. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is frightening beyond belief. Like, it just shows you, because some people, it's like, oh, humanity's great. So people are just people are generally good. Really? Like, have you ever worked with people? Have you ever been around people? Now, granted, for me, for
customer service,
to be like, you see a lot of really twisted, bizarre things, but at the same time, going definitely with the Christianity, the spiritual aspect, is like, once you are saved by grace through Jesus Christ, who died for our sins and rose again through the grave, to pull us out of the grave of death, so that we can be one with him through his grace. And once you are truly saved in Christ, you start seeing things you really didn't see before. Like, you start seeing the true depravity of people. You see it, and it's frightening. It's like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like the Matrix. Be like, once your eyes are open and you realize what the Matrix is, it's like, oh my gosh, can I please introduce you to Jesus Christ for you can be free from this bondage? So yeah, it's it had that very interesting parallel of how depraved man is, and the fact that man wants to escape into their own dreams and their own realities, and just not be able to face reality. And I understand where like dream therapy could be very helpful in a way, but there again, that's dream psychology, and dream psychology is very weird and bizarre. And it's pulling from stuff that doesn't really help. Because believe me, I have had very weird dreams that I'm not going to go into, but I think we all have. If we're all honest, we have very bizarre dreams. Like, why in the world did I have that dream? But it's just like the idea of like how sick people can be. And I know there's people out there that say, be like, oh, man's generally just good. No, they're not. And I will stand on that ground that humanity, it's like, yes, humanity can be good when it wants to. Humanity, left to its own devices, will destroy one another if it's given the chance. So that is why.
Boy, you are getting deep tonight.
Yeah, just a bit. Like, when I saw this, like, oh my gosh, this has so much spiritual connotation. It's not even funny, or spiritual Christianity connotations. I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I am bringing this up. So yeah, it's just like, man, it's depraved, and it's a very good example. a very good example of how man is willing to do anything for power and glory and sexual gratification or anything. And it's just it's disturbing. It makes you look at your own sin in your own life and like, man, I feel like just like get the shaver, like shave it off. But yeah, it's wow. I'd be like, yeah, like you said, that went deep. But I was blown away by that. I was like, wow. I don't know. They knew what they were doing, but from my perspective, they went, okay, let's rip the veil out. Let's show everything. And I'm like, whoa, okay, that's deep. So yeah, that is my number 3, the depravity of man.
Okay. My number 3 is a lot shallower than yours. I love the visual imagery of the Parade of Dreams.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole thing, because you see, like you said earlier, you got the mound of China dolls, and then it's followed up by like the Statue of Liberty for some reason walking through.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. It was like, what?
You've got the Japanese gates that I can't remember the name of. The spiritual gates are walking in there.
Yeah,
you got the little the cat statues that you see in the Japanese. I think it's actually more Tanuki, but anyway,
yeah.
You know what the ones I'm talking about.
Yes.
You see all this other imagery, and then as it starts breaking into the real world,
oh yeah,
and people slowly transform into things, such as the grouping of girls dressed as whose heads have turned into flip phones.
Yes,
that proof of this.
Oh my gosh, movie. That was so disgusting.
No, that's not the disgusting part. The disgusting part's the next shot when it zooms out and the other group of guys as cameras are taking pictures, are taking panty shots.
Yeah, I was like,
that's the disgusting
part. Oh my gosh.
But the visual right before that of their heads being flip phones, that's the part I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that's another psychological social thing you can get into.
That whole parade of chaos.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. It is literally chaos as best can be shown on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes on for like a couple minutes to the point where it slowly starts becoming just noise. And then they'll shift away and they'll go do something else for a while. And then it'll come back and it's like it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
At one point it breaks into the theater, into the detective's theater where he's having his dream, and they have to run and escape. I don't know why, but I just now remembered one of my favorite lines in this whole movie that comes around that time where he's escapes into that street where it's got all the movie theaters. And the other doctor realizes, one that's watching from the outside, the short one.
Yeah.
He can see him in Paprika's dream and starts talking to him. But the dream world, it personifies him as the monkey and the Tarzan.
Yes.
Things. And he says, it doesn't matter right now. You need to go do all this stuff. Paprika's in trouble. Okay, but why are you a monkey? It's like, because it's a dream. Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that whole sequence with all that stuff is, it is 10 times as disturbing as it needs to be.
Yes,
but it personifies the total chaos that is the collective unconscious. Whose dreams are spilling into the real world.
Yes,
which is why you should always leave the safety on all your equipment. You should start with the restrictions first.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be lazy.
Yeah.
One of the probably many morals of this story is always program your restrictions first.
Yeah. So here's a question. So it's all regarding the DC Mini.
Yes.
So what if our doctor and the chief with Toto? Not Toto. He's not a dog.
Totoki?
Toti, yeah.
The fat guy.
The fat guy. Our very large friend.
Yes.
So if he goes into his friend's dreams and he's got the DC Mini on his head, like, couldn't you just take the DC Mini off his head? Unless that would, like, I'm afraid you're gonna neurologically damage him because of it. That's what I'm thinking.
They don't go into detail, but my theory is that it is actually somewhat physically connected to your head while it's on.
Yeah.
And you may not even have control of your arms. Well, think about it. When you're asleep,
Yeah.
because they are dreaming when this thing is running.
Agreed.
You don't move. You have what's called sleep paralysis to keep you from falling off of a ledge.
Agreed.
Hopefully. Unless Paul is speaking. Not pauljpowers.com. I mean, anyway, I'm referencing a story in Acts about a kid who died because
Paul,
because he fell asleep listening to Paul.
Then Paul resurrects him and like, anyways.
Well, and he just woke him back up.
Yeah.
Anyway. It wasn't even the point I was getting at. My suspicion is that you can't physically move while the thing is on.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances, which would be the only times we actually see the normal circumstances are the few that are in lab conditions where, when they're in the lab and they've got it on, which is like we see with the fat guy and the kid there when she's her over there when you physically see the DC Mini on people.
Yeah.
But a large number of the people who are being affected by this event,
yes,
they don't have the DC Mini on.
No, they don't.
They are it's just the force of this thing just kind of envelops people and they're in the dream world. So at that point, if you're in the dream world without being asleep, I assume maybe you can still move, but then you can't take anything off you because you don't have anything. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like the people who probably can't move because their bodies are asleep, and the people who can move don't have it on there to take it off. So that's my theory.
Okay, gotcha.
So you ready to jump into dislikes?
Yeah, let's jump into dislikes.
Well, you're going to disagree with my first dislike.
Okay.
My first dislike is I think the villains are two-dimensional. Namely Inui. The Baldy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, wannabe Professor X.
Yes, because here's the thing: he just wants to be God.
Yeah, pretty much.
He wants to be God, and he thinks that all dreams should be sacred and no one should enter them. But me, I should be allowed. He rationalizes very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was one of those weird points where when he shows up, at first you think, "Oh, this guy's not the villain. This guy is just going to be the weirdo who keeps showing up at the wrong time to spout, this is the common sense that you people should have been following the whole time." So they just walk around the corner and he's there saying, "Dreams are sacred. I am your boss and you are not allowed to use this equipment anymore."
Yeah, except
and he just drives off. You're going, what the crap are you doing here?
Yeah,
I know you're the boss, but you just keep showing up randomly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they go to his house for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact reason because it's been 2 weeks since I watched this movie. And about a week actually. And he stands up out of the wheelchair. And at first I'm going, "You little liar. You're not paralyzed." And then I realized, wait a minute, he's not walking.
No.
I mean, you can't see his legs because he's behind those trees, but he's not got the bounce that people usually have. That even animation mimics very well. You're gliding. Oh, we're asleep.
Yeah.
We're all asleep. And those are vines. Your legs are vines.
Get out of there.
Yeah. It's like, so you're the villain. Why are you the villain? Because I am the boss and you should listen to me. As a villain, he's the worst villain.
Okay.
It's the worst type of villain for me because he's a villain because he has no reason to be a villain. He's just the villain because he happens to be the opposing force.
Yeah.
Because the story needed a quote unquote villain. They gave him no characterization other than he's the boss. And one assumes he's still mad at the world for taking his ability to walk away, but they never talk about that.
Right.
It's just kind of assumed. And then you got his little minion, Osanai.
Mm-hmm.
First off, this guy's creepy.
Just a bit.
And what's weird is you can kind of tell he's got that creep factor early on, and he's supposed to be, one of the team.
Yeah.
But you kind of already have the creep factor going. Maybe it's just because on the second viewing, I already knew he was in on this.
Yeah.
But, because I had seen that one scene in the butterfly mounting area. I'd seen that scene a couple of times outside of this movie, so I knew he was the villain or a villain. But I get to think, it's like, what does he actually want? He just wants to be what our current culture today would call a toxic male of the worst kind.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
He is very his character. Yeah, he's got a lot of psychological things going on, like you were mentioning.
Yes,
but his character, the way he's played, and his characterization is just like, I'm a man and you are a woman, and I am going to, and as such, I am better than you, and I'm going to rip you apart because I'm a man.
Yeah, I have this.
Like,
I have this foresight. I can do it.
Simple in its design.
I agree.
Like, he's got some other issues, and maybe if we got more time with the character, we could have learned more of his psychology to make this part seem less. I mean, it's still creepy. It's still going to be creepy no matter what you do.
Yeah, that whole scene is creepy.
At least give it a whole deeper connotation other than I'm in love with you and you are mine to do with as I please.
Yeah, possession.
Yeah, it's like I've seen. No offense to the actor.
Yeah,
because I know I've heard the actor in other things.
Yeah,
namely Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think he was given much of a role to work with.
Okay,
he's just like, I'm an evil, toxic male who must possess you because you're a woman. It's like it almost feels like it's woke before woke really got big.
I can understand that.
That's just how I'm looking at it. I don't know what it is.
This is the idea of toxic masculinity.
And it's so two-dimensional in how it's characterized. It's like you're a villain, but you're more just an obstacle who keeps showing up.
Yeah.
And the closest thing to any deepness is the fact that you gave away half your body in the dream world to your boss for
and not to mention the physical world.
For reasons?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's my first dislike, is the villains are two-dimensional. I mean, there was something going on when it was China Doll guy, whose name I can't think of right now. He at least had a bit of they could have done some interesting stuff with that, but because he ended up being the red herring.
Yeah.
And we just got these other two guys, so they didn't really work out what their motivations really were. Other than
it's just they kind of just show up.
I am the boss, and I am your boss.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Creepy and so many other ways.
Yeah, other than that, they're two-dimensional, and it's like a hero. The goodness of the hero is the inverse of the evilness of the villain. Right. So what I'm trying to say is, the better your villain is, the better your hero naturally is. Yeah. Because that's what your hero has to go up against. These guys are just two power-hungry jerks. Yeah. In one form or another, who are taking advantage of the fact that Tubbo didn't bother to put restrictions on his invention. That's not really very villainous, other than what they were able to get started. And even then, they're out of control of what's going on for 3/4 of the movie. So anyway, they're pitiful villains.
Agreed.
What's your dislike?
My first dislike? Actually.
Your first dislike. Okay, go ahead.
My first dislike is actually more of a question, because it's left unanswered, and my curious mind must know. Okay, so when the chief Excuse me.
You would do that while I had the screen on something else.
I'm
dropping the band hammer. Sorry.
The band hammer.
The band hammer. Except now it's not showing up in chat. On this chat.
They all ran away.
Oh, there it goes. And it's gone.
Huh.
Okay.
Either way. All right. So my first dislike. How did the Chief survive his jump from the window?
Oh, they healed him.
They healed him.
Yeah.
He jumped from a third to fourth story window.
And their special magical science healed him in a couple days. It was very clear that the only thing they were really worried about is him being stuck in the dream.
I call BS on that.
I do too. That's why I called it magical science.
Yeah.
Because
no.
The dream thing is really what we're focusing on. The rest of the body, that's simple. We can just do that in a day. Because he's healed in like 2 days.
Yeah.
He's able to walk around at least on crutches. It's like, you fell out of a window.
Yeah, and you
on
went
the third floor. You should be
broken.
At the very least, you should be a paraplegic like your boss.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah, and he's walking around and running, or
Yes.
at least I see him walking because it's in the dream. But it's like this.
Well, really,
this,
once you get in the dream world, do we really know what he's actually doing?
True.
But I mean, those shots of him were obvious real world.
Yeah.
And he's walking around like nothing happened. He just got a bandage on my head now.
Yeah. It's just like, what the frack here, man?
Okay.
It's like you literally like, what did you catch him at a midair and he got a bump on his head?
Maybe. I don't know.
Did he jump because was he in a dream when he jumped? Because obviously he was still in the real world because he went nuts.
Yeah.
But
Although
either
I
way,
will say the scene there where he goes nuts.
Mhm.
I like how they're I should have brought this up earlier, but anyway, they start getting in deep with their techno babble.
Yeah.
As to how this thing's working. So, and it's just enough vague that they're not really explaining everything, but if you're listening, you can kind of follow what they're saying.
Yeah.
To figure out the logic. And all of a sudden, he just says 5 words that don't mean anything.
Yeah.
And at first, you're going, is that techno babble I don't understand? And he keeps talking. It's like, no, you literally have started babbling. You went from babble that was constructed to just saying random crap. Okay. You've gone insane. Moving on.
Yeah, pretty much.
I liked how they handled that. Is all I was trying to get at.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I enjoyed that scene. It's just more like when he jumps out the window, then he's in a coma, and then the next day he's fine. Like, that makes no sense. Like, did you catch him? Did he fall on a? Did they know he was going to jump? Did he fell into a pole?
He was healed with the magic of science.
Yeah. Horse hockey.
Kind of what I want to name this episode. The magic of science.
So either way, that is be like, a man jumps out the window and he's got a Band-Aid on his head.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes no sense. Give me
Pretty
logic
much.
here, people.
You want logic? How about my second dislike?
Okay.
I do not like the shot of the DC Mini embedded in that guy's scalp.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And to some degree, that makes sense as to why it's there. But at the same time, it's like, shouldn't it just be sitting on top of the head? Why is it digging?
What is it embedded in this?
How did it get embedded into his skull? Did it burrow its way down in there?
Yeah.
Is that why you shouldn't have it on? Here's an idea. Along with those other restrictions that keep you from entering in other people's dreams, how about you put a timer on it that kicks you out after half an hour?
Well, he didn't put any restrictions on it.
Obviously, and that's a restriction they need to put on there. If it burrows into your head, you need to take that out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had to do that with surgery to get that thing out there. Can you imagine the surgeons doing this? Like, how did this stuff get in here? It's like, it's this weird magic-y science device.
Yeah.
that is doing all this cool, weird stuff, and we've got to take it out of him because it's probably embedded itself into his neurocortex or whatever. But that shot of it being in his head.
Yeah, they're pulling it out and putting it in there.
And the thing is, it's when you see it, you recognize that the glowing of the little glowing parts that are
Uh-huh.
you're seeing that through his skin. It's like, you know what? Kudos on the animation because it looked good, but like,
yeah, it's disturbing.
There's a nightmare I don't need.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's my second dislike.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my second dislike, it's all Nikita's fault.
Nikita?
Huh?
You say Nikita?
No.
Oh, Takita. Sorry.
Takita.
Yeah,
Takita.
it is Takita's fault.
It is all Nikita's fault.
If he'd have done his job,
yeah,
this wouldn't be a problem.
The fact, like I said, the fact, like
you'd have to have a better problem than, oh yeah, it's just wide open. It's like the internet in the early 90s before, antivirus software.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just more. It's like, it's Nikita's fault. Be like, it's simple. He doesn't care really. It's more like, oh, I'm just gonna do what I want. I don't care about responsibility. Like I said in my likes, the idea of human depravity, and the man simply, like, he just wants to play with his toys and go hang out with his friend in his dream because he wants to go talk with him, being fully aware this is not advisable. He does it anyway because he's an immature brat.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ow. Get out of there.
You're exacerbating that cough by the more you talk.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just saying, hydrate your mouth a little, or your throat a little bit more. That's all I'm suggesting. Anyway.
Takita is a brat.
Yes.
And that is basically the man that doesn't learn.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't learn from his mistakes. He just keeps doing what he wants to do. Darn the consequences. And our main character falls in love with this guy.
I suspect it's kind of a motherly love that has blossomed into deeper.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I don't see this relationship going far, and unless he really straightened up.
The real question is, here's the thing: her being in love with him is not the problem.
Yeah, because
people make weird decisions all the time.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
The real question is, because her being in love with him, that's kind of obvious. A lot of her story in this movie is realizing that she loves him.
Yeah.
What's not clear to me is, does he love her?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he cares for her, but it's kind of in the same way he cares for his friend with the China dolls.
Yeah.
It's like, that's more of a friendship than a loving relationship of two people who want to spend the rest of their lives together.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a successful relationship or not, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But I also don't think we're supposed to think too deeply about it.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed when it comes to this episode.
That is true. It's just when admittedly, as quick as the line comes, it kind of just feels like, and here's how they're living happily ever after. Yeah. And you should go watch a movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I just got done watching a movie.
Yeah, it's just be like that.
You should go watch this director's next movie that'll never come out.
Yeah. Sad to hear that.
Anyway.
But the idea that our main character falls in love with the our very large character, our main child.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that idea that two characters that normally you would never put together, at least she falls in love with him. We don't know exactly how he feels about her because it's not really explained, and it's just kind of like okay, here's your drop, here's your reveal, and oh, by the way, they've gotten married at the end of the film. And my thought is like, okay, be like, if he's really in love with her, is he going to change who he is? And
that's the question.
That's $1 million question.
I would also say, though, of all the characters in the movie that could make him change or feel the need to change, it's probably her.
Possibly. Because the power of love is a curious thing.
Yes.
But at the same time,
I also wonder, just looking at the story, the way it's presented, is the reason that they're even able to have taken this farther than just a weird mad scientist project thing that he he and his friend may have made in a garage somewhere.
Yeah.
Is it because of her, and he may not have taken it had she not been there and maybe pushed him that direction?
Yeah, I don't know.
I really don't know.
I don't know. All we know is like she's the head of the department.
Yeah.
And they work together. But she's always like incredibly it's not one of these kind of relationships where she's
wrong button.
It's not like it's being like subvertly implied that she's really in love with him. I do like the idea that the reveal that she pulls him out of the elevator and she kind of leans against him. That's kind of sweet and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really what's the word? It's not a two-way streak. I don't think it's a two-way streak.
It's hard to tell.
It doesn't really vibe that way. So it's like, yeah, kudos, yay, they get married. It just doesn't really seem to work with the two characters.
Yeah.
Not anything to do with the character shapes or anything or their size or what have you. But it's just more. It's just like
personality wise, I'm not sure.
Well, I've met people that have different personalities and it works. But it's just like how they.
I mean, their personality.
Yeah,
is, like you were saying, it's hard to know what he's actually thinking. The closest thing we got is when he and the robot swallowed what's her name and then went after Paprika.
Yeah.
So is he in love with the doctor or is he in love with Paprika? I mean, yeah, they are technically the same person. But
yeah.
Very much this girl, this woman is suffering from split personality disorder.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of her personalities lives on in the dream world and in the internet, while the other one is, walking around the normal world.
Yeah.
It's a lot more hidden. But anyway.
Yeah, either way. So yeah, mine is our very large friend did it and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
That is my number 2. What is your number 3?
My number 3. I feel the sexual imagery that's used throughout this entire movie is pretty much unnecessary for the plot. Now, part of this is me being prudish.
Okay.
I will admit that right here and right now. Because honestly, I don't even think... I think if you can't tell a story without doing this, you're being a little lazy.
Okay.
About this sort of thing, because this kind of stuff is easy.
Yeah.
To some degree. To come up with.
Yeah.
It's not... To some degree, yeah, it's like dreams, people... like you were saying earlier with the total depravity of man and all that. Yeah, I can see sexually charged things happening in a dream. I can even see it from Toxic Masculinity dude, whose name I've completely forgotten at this point. Osanai, I think. I can see how that's
Inu?
No, Inu is the baldy.
Yeah, okay.
Osanai is the one that had her in the
butterflies.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Osanai.
Yeah. If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, anyway, that's Osanai.
I can see how that's there, but and it is there, I think, to make you feel uncomfortable. In that scene, as much as I don't like it, I understand why it does that.
Right. And
to some degree, I can understand the other part there at the end where she's, the other time she's naked.
Yeah.
Because that's more like somehow that was the birth of the combined person of her and Paprika as it, grew into this thing to take out everybody.
Yeah.
I get that. I get all of that.
Yeah.
But I do wonder how much of that was absolutely necessary to the story. Could you have told the story in such a way that you did not need to show that? How much of that was how much of that was necessary and how much of that was a bunch of guys kind of sowing their wild oats, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Writing out their fantasies.
Yes. Dealing with their own depraved human minds.
Yeah.
That's what why if this is my third dislike, is I don't think you necessarily had to do that, and it does make something like this inaccessible to younger audiences.
Yeah, I would agree.
For the most part, the rest of this movie is fine for a younger audience, but because of those scenes, I would not dare let someone in like high school or junior high age watch this without, an adult present, at least.
Yeah.
And even then I would be, worried.
Yeah.
And if it had a decent reason for doing it that way,
mm-hmm.
that could not be done another way, maybe I can go with it. But honestly, it's just not something I like. And admittedly, this could be me being a prude.
Okay.
But yeah, what to me seems like unnecessary sexual imagery is my third dislike.
Okay. Now, I do understand where you are coming from, but I would go as far as to illustrating human depravity of like using imagery like that ever since this is an adult film.
Yes, it's just in my mind, this borders on the pornographic.
I would
borders.
It does border. I agree with you. Now I just
wonder if it could be more tastefully done.
Yeah, I agree with you. More artistically done.
Yes.
Artistically done. Now the way they use nudity in this movie, it's not done in a very sexually erotic way. It's not. It's done more very natural way. It's not
the nudity itself. Yes.
Yeah, the nudity itself.
That shot right before the first nude scene. On the other hand.
Oh yeah, we'll
call it the undressing scene.
Yeah, the undressing scene. Yeah, that itself it shows that character's depravity. It shows like even the bosses like says that you can't control your sexual desires.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying me like I don't hear me what I'm not saying here. The idea when they go into situations like that and they actually visually show it and it's written very well, I think it's artistically it's very well done, and it shows, like I said before, the depravity of man and the human weakness to go towards the more sexual perversions. And I enjoy that more artistic viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritually not, but artistically yes. When an artist can push it that far, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. I may disagree with it from a spiritual level or a theological level, but from an artistic level, I'm like, okay, I mean, that's cool.
Artistically, it's done well. It's just artistically, it's done well. It's just, I wonder if there was a better artistic way to communicate those scenes. It's just
agreed.
Just could have been blocked in such a way where you didn't see some of the stuff and it's more implied.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Totally understand it. Totally, I agree with you. It's just looking at the film from an artistic standpoint, and it's just I get where they're going. And it's just like, okay, but again, spiritual, theologically, I disagree with it. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is.
What is actually your third dislike?
My third dislike. So you're telling me that
I told you what?
Huh?
What did I tell you?
What?
So you said you're telling me that. It's like, I don't remember what.
No, not you. I'm leading up to something.
Okay.
All right. So you're telling me that Dr. Our main character, Asuka
Chiba. Dr. Chiba.
Yeah, Dr. Chiba. Chiba. So she's been running around as Paprika this entire time. And it's been this little secret, that she's being used by all these other people to help with their therapy.
Yeah. Illegally the entire time. Like, even the chief says, be like, oh, it's our little secret, because if it gets out before it's approved, be like, this could be the ruin of, well, you think? Yeah.
Be like, you're running around with a woman that has a DC mini on her.
Yeah. See, here's my thing. This is what crosses my mind. Obviously, first off, why is this the secret? Is it because you think you're doing the greater good? Or is it because the more people you have testing this out, the bigger your data pool is?
Your test
obviously, if you're keeping it a secret from the bosses, you're not using it to get more data. Otherwise, you would set up controlled experiments.
You
would maybe try some therapy on some people. There are legitimate ways you could handle this. And even if the lead doctor from a psychological standpoint is Chiba, why do you have her going out there and being this rogue agent with this thing that apparently everybody but Baldy in the wheelchair knows about?
And like, even go from like an ethical standpoint.
Yes. I mean,
a medical ethical.
I have to wonder a couple things from a medical ethical standpoint. Why do you do this? Because I mean, for one thing, okay, she is a psychiatrist or a
she's
psychologist?
a psychiatrist.
Either way, she's a therapist, a mental therapist that's pretty much blazing this field. She may have, at least at some point, some pride in being one of the first psychiatrists or psychologists to be in this, to push this technology and all that.
Agreed.
However, I think even the psychiatrists and psychologists have to take the Hippocratic Oath, at least here in America. I don't know about Japan. Which says, before anything else, do no harm. There is so much chance for harm that even before everything starts hitting the fan, if you're watching this movie, you can tell there's going to be problems.
Because you're literally
there is.
Like, even the boss says, be like, you're manipulating people's dreams.
Right. So that's going, even if it only affects the one person, that's harmful. So you need to be very careful about how you go about this stuff. So I don't know why you're not doing it under controlled, more controlled circumstances. Going out to a random hotel on the other side of what I assume is Tokyo. To meet up with a detective that happens to be friends with your lead researcher that's not the inventor of the technology.
The chief.
And having your own little rogue website out there where you can talk when you're not together with the avatar of your dream guide girl. I don't follow.
There's so many. There's so many.
Follow what your goal is.
There's so many ethical morality problems with whatever they're doing. And even to top it off, the fact that Dr. Chiva, be like, does she have a DC mini implanted in her head? Because she can just hop in and out of dreams like no one's business. There's no.
When we start seeing that, it's when the dream world has started expanded and started getting into that. Most of the rest of the time, we do see her taking the DC mini on and off.
Okay.
Because or at least it's implied that she did, because we see the detective take it off, but she's still in her. We're still seeing her as Paprika, not as Chiba. And I do wonder how much of I kind of wonder if maybe she dresses like Paprika when she's Paprika in the real world,
possibly,
because split personality and all that. Because I mean, you can tell it's the same base character model, just with a different hairstyle and some different eyes and a bit more spunk.
Exactly.
Personality wise. Otherwise, it's the same character model. It should be. It's the same person. But for the most part, we see him take we see him take it off. We don't see her take it off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we get later on this, you realize that maybe the DC Mini is a starting point for getting into the dream world, because there seems to be, at least, especially a couple minutes in, and the chief goes bonkers because he's been sucked into the dream world.
Yeah.
Without being anywhere near a DC Mini.
Yeah.
That kind of the fact that the DC Mini seems to be more of a red herring for the story.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's necessary for maybe first timers.
Yeah.
Before chaos reigned in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But
at that same time, it's more it's okay if it's like the first time using it, then you can jump into it anytime you need to.
And to some degree, because here's the other thing. When they're on the website thing, for one thing, that's not how websites work.
Yeah.
But they kind of talk about how this is that the internet is a lot like dreams, because it's a place where the mind can go to vent.
Yeah.
Which kind of explains why it's moving. Yeah, it's moving in the way of like a visual novel video game.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it's like it is still moving like it's obviously a dream world. It's not how you normally this stuff works on a website.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what that website looks like to someone who's never put on the DC Mini.
Yeah.
Could it be that he can kind of sort of access it because his brain waves have been unlocked by the DC Mini?
Yeah.
And it's just that the prolonged exposure makes your mind open more?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that the problem? Because that's
be
part of the restrictions they were talking about. It's like anyone who was linked to the DC Mini, their dreams are now available to whoever's got it.
Yeah. Or it's be like, for how many, like if you spend too much time in the DC Mini that you can.
Yeah. But it's not none of that's explained.
No, there's really
the DC Mini kind of shows up as like, this thing was stolen, or one of these was stolen.
Yeah.
We've got to go find it. Oh, by the way, chaos is going to be raining soon.
Yeah. And it's almost like they almost pick and choose, like, which characters, need to use the DC Mini or they don't need to use it.
It's a MacGuffin that becomes unimportant by halfway through the story.
Exactly.
Other than we are still out there looking for it. Except the one they find that was stolen technically was the one embedded in China doll guy's head.
Yeah.
That's the one that was stolen. The other one is like, oh, it's still happening because it really wasn't stolen.
No.
I mean, this one was stolen, but that's not the one that's actually causing the problems.
Yeah. Here's another.
Not the one that turned that one guy crazy.
Yeah. So here's another.
Crazy, I mean.
Here's another one. So when it comes to the big competition with the boss Professor X guy.
Yes.
So our main characters are confronting him about, be like, oh, so you're using stolen technology for evil purposes. Like, wait a minute, but you're using.
He's using it. It looks like he's using it so he can go walk.
Yeah, pretty much, and
like,
use someone else's body.
Right, like I said, the characters are stupid. The villains are horrible in this movie.
It's based on the characters' motivations.
Yeah,
that our main characters. Oh, they're doing it for science, and he's doing it for
magic of science.
The magic of science. I think that's going to be our title.
That's going to be the title at this point.
But yeah, it's just like it's all based on motivation, and it's our convenience.
Yeah,
yeah. The DC Mini is literally. It was
necessary to explain how this was possible in the first place, but about halfway through the story, it's like, this doesn't matter anymore. Pretend you don't see it, except when we have, what's the fat guy's name? Tatsuki?
Yeah, Tatsuki.
I think Tatsuki's a character in another movie.
Yeah.
But when the inventor goes to put it on so he can enter the other guy's world, you're thinking, don't do that, you're going to get in trouble. It's because we've not seen him go into the world.
Yeah.
So, of course, he needed to unlock his mind for the 24-hour, following 24 hours, and then he turns into a giant robot with his face on a screen.
Yeah.
Until he eats both Paprika and Chiba.
Yeah.
And then a baby bursts out of his chest.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
A dream baby.
Weird.
Anyway.
Yeah, either way.
So like you said, the DC Mini for the most part is unnecessary throughout most of the movie.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's a Maltese Falcon. It's just like something they need. And then like you said, by the middle of the film, it's no longer.
It's more of a hindrance.
It's more of a hindrance, or it's no longer needed.
Yeah.
It's, hey, we're going to drop into a dream. Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, she has to put it on when she goes back into the dream where she comes out looking like Sun Wukong. But she's in that dream mode for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Either way. So, yeah. It's a very weird film. And it's just like by the middle of it, it's like, okay.
I have a theory. And this just occurred to me. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go for it.
When you use the DC Mini to enter the dream world, you have more control over your dream.
Right.
But if you enter the dream world passively, like 99% of the rest of the characters in this movie,
right,
you are. It's kind of like it's like you're being washed away with the current. With the DC Mini, you can anchor yourself to what you're doing, and maybe even have control over it.
Okay.
You're more likely to lucid dream.
Yeah.
But without it, you're more likely to not lucid dream. And admittedly, we see them even go through the lucid parts of it, the non-lucid parts of it from time to time. So anyway.
Yeah.
It's a theory. I don't know how true it is.
It works.
Paul J. Powers in our chat does have a good question we should bring up.
Okay.
He says, we haven't answered the burning question.
Okay.
Does paprika make a pizza taste better? I don't know. I've never done it. So
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. This character, that's a whole
nother kettle of fish.
Yeah, exactly.
So now on that note, we need to rate this thing.
Okay.
What are you rating it?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Go first.
At a 7.
You're in a 7. Okay.
The animation is top notch.
Yeah.
My prudishness, admittedly, does knock it down for my enjoyment level.
Okay.
A little bit. The villains being so awful in this knock it down too. It's got some story beat problems, but it's got a lot of great concepts.
Yeah.
In many ways, I kind of wish it focused on the detective and his dreams, and maybe that would have helped him find the murderer and the case he was looking for, and that might have been a more interesting story from my perspective.
I would agree with you on that.
This other thing was just like where the movie actually goes, I don't think is as good as it could have been. But,
it drops the murder mystery angle like just
quickly. And it's like, the murder mystery was an interesting part of the story that is never answered.
Yeah,
it's actually not important to the story.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm giving it a 7 because pretty much the concepts are good. The animation on those concepts are good. It's just the story itself is kind of bleh.
Yeah, agreed. I would agree with you. I'm going to give it an 8. I love the visual storytelling, every aspect visually is just amazing. How they tell the story and how, like I said before, how it's the kind of, I don't know if the director or the writer, had any idea of total depravity, but I just love how they visually show it. And like, even though it is disturbing, it is very interesting to watch. And I love that from a visual standpoint or artistic standpoint. I really enjoy that. It's great concepts. But like you said, the story is just kind of like, huh? Wait, you're doing this? One of our guys jumps out of a building, survives. Mind you, it's a 3 to 4 story building. And he just bounces away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy it. And then it's just, there's a lot of logic in here that just goes out the window. Now, yeah, like it's got, there again, good story beats. It's got some good ideas, and it's got some flaws to it story wise.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, visually, I was just floored, hammered by this movie, and it was just fantastic visually. Yeah, so that's I'm giving it 8.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Cellcast, which means we need to announce the next movie on our list.
Uh-huh.
And that is just weird. Sorry, I got confused by something I was looking on here. I think I know why that did this, but either way. The next movie that we're reviewing is one of yours.
Yeah.
So, what are we watching next?
The Last Unicorn.
I've heard this is a sad movie.
It is, actually.
But I've never watched it.
Yeah. It's one of those 1980s films that I remember watching as a kid, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is good as a kid. And I thought it was a little weird because it was about a unicorn, but yeah, it's got a huge cult following, huge. Oh my gosh, and it's really good storytelling wise, and I think more people need to watch it. So yeah, we are doing The Last Unicorn.
All right, so join us for that next time. In the meantime, however, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob,
and we'll catch you in the next frame.
Stupid Red Bull.
It gave you wings.
You shall see.
I mean, it could have given you wings in this movie and it made perfect sense.
That's true.
All right. So
no, there's a Red Bull in the next movie.
Okay.
There's literally a Red Bull.
Does it give wings?
No, he kind of chases things. Horns.
Okay.
But yeah, by the way, thank you guys so much for staying tuned with us.
Saving, sorry.
All right, going to part of the Facebook.
I got the whole thing right up here.
You got Ryan in there?
Yeah, I got Ryan in here. I just got to go all the way back up to him.
Okay.
Yeah. He started off saying hates when stuff stays on DVD, referencing your
True Lies.
True Lies. We got a lot of stuff in here. Paul J. Power says he got it in HD on Vudu.
Nice.
I didn't know it was on HD in Vudu.
Huh.
Josh says Outlaw Star. Apparently he really likes that show.
Yeah, it's good. It's got a very weird ending.
He says Jim is the best character.
No, he's not. Or yeah, Jim Hawkins, yes.
Yeah. Ryan Ashley Wall of the Raw Quiz Show says NCIS is the Simpsons of crime dramas.
I would agree with you, Ryan. I've known Ryan for so many years, it's not even funny.
You know Ryan?
Yeah, no Ryan.
You know this Ryan?
I know this Ryan.
You know Ryan Ashley Wall from North Carolina?
Yes.
This is a weird connection.
I think I could be thinking of another Ryan, but maybe. I don't know. Hi, Ryan.
Let us know, Ryan, if you're still listening, if you actually have met Jacob before.
I may be confusing you with another Ryan. So if it is, I apologize.
Okay. Retro Reunion says NCIS. Is that the one with Horatio?
Horatio Gates?
Is that the one with Gary Sinise?
No.
Josh says that was CSI Miami.
Yes.
Ricky
that's
Ricky
New York.
Schroeder?
No, that's New York.
Paul J. Power says Ricky Schroeder?
Nope.
NCIS. Is that the one with Greg after Dharma?
No, that's Criminal Minds.
No, that's Dharma and Greg.
Yeah, but that's Criminal Minds.
NCIS. Is that the one with Jerry Seinfeld?
No!
He'll be right back. Paul says, the murderer is right there. Come on! Call in the Spice Girls because we need some paprika.
Good one, Paul.
Josh says, video rental stores. You mean Redbox? At this point, yes.
Yes. Some of the
from Voodoo.
Yeah, there we go.
Prince Olympius was ... Interesting. Do I need to see Lightspeed Rescue to know what you're talking about, Josh?
Apparently.
Or do I need to not bother? Is the question.
I don't know.
Josh says he's never seen any Lupin the Third.
It's good.
Paul says, what about Lupin the First or Second? Well, Lupin the First would have been Arsène Lupin, who fought the great Herlock Sholmes.
Yes.
Lupin the Third is his great grandson.
Very true.
Josh says, yeah, I miss those as well. Well, they didn't exist, so you're fine, Josh.
Yeah, you're good.
Sadly, most have. And then we said something that came up to Dr. Mario. I don't know what this is a reference to.
Mario.
Was it maybe Osanai had some?
I have no idea.
One of the doctors, probably.
Yeah, one of the doctors.
Let me look at this list right quick. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's something about doctor, and someone just mentioned Mario.
Hey, Mario.
No, there's nothing to do with plumbers.
Whether or not they wear ties is another matter.
Yeah. You mean?
Morio Osanai. His first name was Morio. That's why.
Okay. I gotcha.
And then he used the pill.
Of course.
And then a baby and a robot. Oh, I guess talking about the end of Paprika.
Yeah.
Bwong.
Inception.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah.
Guys and dolls?
Ugh.
Maybe. Paprika. I feel pretty.
Oh, so pretty.
And witty and something. I don't remember the rest of the
Something and
song.
something and something.
Skipping past the I'll go with a. But I thought you liked the depravity of man. Well, I don't like the depravity of man. It was just he liked the interpretation of the total depravity of man.
Yes, I did.
That's what that was.
Yes.
But you haven't answered the burning question. Does paprika make a pizza taste better? Josh says, pineapple does. I disagree
with you.
Pineapple should never be hot. There you go, says Paul J. Powers. You're welcome.
You people are weird.
My friend is in love with Outlaw Star.
Okay.
And Lightspeed Rescue was a great season, which actually catches us up on all the chat. So see, we're faster than Francisco.
Oh, bird.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. I don't
Yes.
think I've got anyone to raid, but let me look. While I do that, talk us out.
All right, guys. You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter. I'm not Twitter, but Twitch, where either you're watching us from now on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook Live. So there again, thank you so much. If you enjoy, so you can listen to our audio version on your favorite podcast catcher or directory. We're available basically anywhere. So if you want to give us a 5-star review, that's great. And give us a comment down, comment and let people know that, hey, you think we're pretty good. So
Somebody has to.
somebody has to. Yeah, we actually did have someone.
Yes, I forgot that. Hang on. We're going to do that right quick. I don't know where I'm going to put it in the episode.
But we will put it in the
I'm going to
episode.
put it in there right now.
Improv. You gotta love it, right?
That was on Podchaser.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that one was from. Of course, I also put it in the Facebook group, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So that would probably be faster to get to it. I kept saying I need to put this in the notes so I can read it on the show. And did I do it? No.
Nope.
No, I didn't.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'm a horrible podcast host. Didn't do my job.
Haha.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit record right quick, and we'll read this, and I'll throw it in somewhere. So we did get a review this week.
Really?
Yes, in the last 2 weeks. Over on Podchaser,
Okay.
the Netflix, the IMDb of podcasts.
Okay.
Please go rate us there if you're not going to rate us on iTunes,
Exactly.
but rate us on iTunes also. Not iTunes, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Go rate us in everywhere.
Yeah.
Do
Exactly.
that, but I'll go ahead
Give
and
us some
read.
love.
I'll go ahead and read this one that was on Podchaser, which is from our good friend Geek Devotions, who was on our Tenchi Muyo in Love episode.
Yes. Go check
And
that out.
he gave us a 5 stars and says, love these guys. Drew and Jacob do a fantastic job of examining everyone's favorite animated films, discussing the major story plots, and bringing out interesting discussion topics, all while having fun. Listening to them really likes it. Bleh. Listening to them really is like being a fly on the wall, watching two friends laugh and have fun. Thanks for that, Geek Devotions.
Yeah, thank you, Geek
We
Devotions.
appreciate you leaving that review. On with the rest of the show. I'll put that in somewhere.
All right. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. And next week we'll be reviewing the cult classic, The Last Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check where you can find that real fast.
Amazon.
Yeah.
If you have Amazon Prime, it's on there for free.
Okay. Yeah. So go
I've
check
already
that out.
found that.
Okay. Yeah. So go check that Amazon Prime Video. Go check that out. I actually bought a copy physical copy. And yeah, it's still really good. Still really good after all these years. So yeah, go check it out and before next week. And so come back here and comment and get the conversation started for next week. And yeah, we will see you guys next week.
And I am going to raid Retro now since he is online.
Excellent.
So we will see y'all guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, and that's going. And I now need to switch over to